So even as we're talking about this distinction between community work and social work, I'm just seeing how provocative even that is.
Yeah.
Like that question of who do you work for? And I know the instinctive answer would be, we work for the community. But that exactly is the bone of contention, right?
Exactly.
That some people have about social workers, fair or unfair.
Yeah.
That like, are the social workers working for the community, or are they working for the system? Are they working for the funders? Are they working for themselves? And it's a huge debate that way.
Yeah, and that question sets a very important foundation because it sort of determines or helps us think about where the conflicts are, right? If I'm, for instance, a professional social worker that's hired by a social service agency who is then funded by the state, then a lot of different conflicts might ensue. You have the conflict between the community member and the social worker. You have the conflict between them and the agency that the social worker is being employed by, and then by the agency and the wider system who then funds the work, right? So I think in some ways that is what we see and what we learn on the ground. It's not to say that social workers are not doing a good job, but what we are seeing is this complications and this identity that needs to be navigated. Sometimes I don't know whether we have enough conversations about it. So that's a great place to start.
So who funds you?
Well, that's a great question.
Are you even funded? Or it's basically like...
Of course, the answer is that we are not funded because who's going to fund you to do work like this? And perhaps that's one of the issues to begin with. So the work is made possible by the voluntary efforts of everybody, right? I have other things to do. So I'm, of course, studying right now, completing my degree. But at the same time, I also have other paid projects at the side that allow me to continue to do this work that I do. And of course, there are flexibilities and all in this kind of working arrangement that sort of makes it possible. So yeah, we're not funded. Most of the work I do with some of these teams are not remunerated. They pose a challenge, a problem that we are still navigating, thinking about how, why this is the case, how can this change and whether it should change, right? If you professionalize community work, what happens to community work? So these are challenges that we are still navigating.